Hello, everyone. You're welcome to this webinar today. Host, can you please pull up the screen, please? Can you please pull up the screen? Can you pull up this presentation, host? All right, thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. You're welcome to this webinar today. We're really excited to be having this session with everybody out here today. This webinar is our first consumer webinar. That is, all the webinars we're having in the organization is usually for businesses, usually B2B. But for the first time, we're meeting with the most important individuals, the most important people in the life of every business cycle. That is you out there and myself, right? We are the ones that we are the lifeline of every business. So welcome today once again. So this webinar is the Consumer Financial Literacy, and the first series we're having today is Drowning in Debt, Outswim the Loan Sharks. So the question is, are you drowning in debt? Have you had any problem with a loan shark before? I know in the course of the presentation, you're going to have a different perspective, different understanding on loan sharks, but based on your understanding, have you had an experience? So just relax, we're going to find out, we're going to learn a lot together today, and this webinar promises to be quite educative, and also we'll try to make it quite interactive. Now, the webinar is organized by Credit Registry Credit Bureau, PLC. Credit Registry is the pioneer credit bureau in Nigeria, and we are the credit bureau with the largest credit information database in Nigeria. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to be here with you all today. So welcome once again. If you're here, and I'm sure you don't want your friends to miss out of what is happening, kindly share the link. Someone is going to drop it on the chat right now. Kindly share the direct link to the Zoom with everybody on your contacts. Go to your WhatsApp, just drop it there. So that leads them directly to this place. They don't need to register. So I can see the link is being shared right now by the admin. Just share the link so that everybody can share it with everybody that they know, so that they can join us today and learn with us, and also stand the chance of winning certain amount of money that you can use and repay some loan sharks. All right, so let's interact. Let's dive right in. So this is virtual, I know, but we usually allow for people to interact and get to, should I say know themselves? Interact, basically, yes, and know themselves. So today, just go to the chat box. Can you go to the chat box? Drop your name, your state, and let us know, have you taken credit before? If you have, just say yes. And have you had an experience with a loan shark? So let's make it quite interactive. And most importantly to me and for all of us here is, what is your expectation for today's webinar? So I'm going to allow, and pay so much attention to time, so I'm going to allow 2 minutes for us to interact, and then we'll come back and just dive right into what we have today. So go ahead and interact. And for this interaction, just go to the chat box, not necessarily the Q&A. Oh, I can see someone is saying that chat is disabled. Wow, apologies for this. Can we please go ahead to enable it? I think it's enabled right now. Okay, someone is asking. No, it's not enabled. Can we please go to the chat and enable the chat so that people can interact? All right, I can see interaction. Wow, we have someone from Mina. That's interesting. So your name, your state, if you've taken credit before, and if you've had any experience with a loan shark, what you may want to chat about it, that's fine actually. And what is your what's the expectation today? And as we join, there is a link on the chat group. I think it's been dropped. There's a link on the chat group. Please go ahead and share this link with all your contacts. So we have just 1 minute for this interaction. I think the link has been dropped. All right, so thank you, everyone. It's quite interactive out there. I'm seeing the experiences. Interesting. So I told the speakers to look at the interaction and see people's expectation. Someone is saying how to come out of this and never return. People are really setting high expectation, which is quite interesting. So the speakers will be looking at that. All right, thank you. So can you go to the next slide, please? All right, so thank you once again for joining us. You're all welcome. So I'm just going to give you an insight into what we're going to, how today's event is going to look. So soon I'm going to have my MD come on for a welcome address, and then we'll dive in straight to the first topic, which is lending, the credit bureau, and the loan sharks. Then the next topic is how can I escape from falling victim to loan sharks? And you're right as a consumer when engaging with lenders. Then we'll have a panelist session and a raffle draw. I'm sure most of us are really here because of that raffle draw. So just relax and have the best of the day with us today. Please, next slide. So before we go in, I would like to take you through the house rules today. Please be aware that this webinar is being recorded, and also know that all participants is muted, and this is to allow speakers to present without any form of interruption. And we want you to know that the slides and links of the recording will be made available to everyone here today. And should you have a question, kindly indicate by raising your virtual hand, and we're going to call on you and unmute you to ask the question if you wish to do that. And if you lose your internet connection, please reconnect and using the link that was sent to you, the same link that you used to log into this webinar. Just go back to the same link and come back here. Also, may I also let you know that this webinar will last approximately 2 hours, 30 minutes, and nothing more than 2 hours, 30 minutes. Now let's meet the speakers. So today we have great people here with us. We have the group head, retail banking, Zenith Bank, in the person of Mr. Larry. When is his son? I'm going to read out his profile. We also have Foyinshola Akinwade, who is the head of product money in minutes here today. Also, we have Mr. Chinedu. He's the head of advisory and non-financial services, Wema Bank. And most importantly as well, I'm very delighted to let you all know that the host of this event, in the person of Dr. Jamila Sharif Ayedun, is also here with us today. And without much ado, I'll be calling on the MD CEO to give us her welcome address. Over to you, Dr. Jamila.
Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I am so delighted to welcome you to this much anticipated consumer financial literacy webinar, Drowning in Debt, Outswim the Long Sharks. We are thrilled to have each and every one of you here today to join us in this very crucial discussion on managing and overcoming debt challenges. I am Dr. Jamila Sharif Ayedun, your Managing Director and CEO of Credit Registry, which is the organizer of this event. And I have the privilege of serving as your host today. So before I dive into the many discussions that our speakers are going to be bringing up, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you guys for taking the time out to come and participate in today's webinar. The link has been dropped in the chat box, so please, you can go ahead and share that with your friends, have them come and join us. This is going to be an event they don't want to miss. I have honestly been waiting for 20 years to see this happen. So this is a dream come true for me today. You see, Credit Registry, we started because of each and every one of you here and millions of others just like you. Can I just tell you a story? My husband, Mr. Taiwo Ayedun, he founded Credit Registry Nigeria. We've built a life together, collaborating with others to create this ecosystem to actually give you guys an advantage to build wealth. Just like every one of us, we want to be able to take care of our families and build wealth. You see, Taiwo was an immigrant to America. He went there to go to college, and that's where I met him. While he was in college, he was approached by Chase Bank on campus, and they wanted to give him a $500 credit card. He was surprised. Why would a bank want to give him money? Well, he took it. He applied, he got approved, he used it, and he even paid for it sometimes, and sometimes he didn't. Well, Taiwo, he graduated successfully, he got a job, and when he finished, he went and he got an apartment, and then he went to try to get furniture to furnish his apartment. The salesperson, they asked him, say, would you like to apply for credit? So he did. The salesperson took his application, and then they came back to Taiwo and told him that he was declined. Taiwo didn't understand. The salesperson told him not to worry. He would get a letter in the mail from his credit bureau, and it would tell him why he was declined. It was only when Taiwo received that letter and his credit report that he saw that he was delinquent on his credit card that he took long ago when he was in college. This credit had followed him for years, and since he didn't pay it off, it impacted him from getting new credit. This is when it dawned on Taiwo that this is how America works. All those affluent people around him, driving new cars, having apartments, houses, taking trips, affording to go to college, and so much more. It is because of credit. It is because they were actually being held accountable through a system like a credit bureau. Well, this is when he decided that we would create a credit bureau for Nigeria, and that's Credit Registry. You see, being responsible with credit rewards you to be able to get access to more credit. This is what builds an affluent society. So today we are here not to judge, but because we realize that everyone, just like Taiwo and just like myself, we make mistakes when it comes to credit. But even more, everybody deserves a chance to learn from those mistakes so that they can do better. So I want to hear from you today. We want to hear your stories. Vera has already asked that you put in the chat box, and I'm going to reiterate it. Just put one thing you'd like to walk away from this event with. If you haven't thought about it, I want you to take a moment, think about the one thing you want to walk away with, and drop that in the chat box for us. In today's world, financial literacy, hello, Yemisi. In today's world, financial literacy is not an option, it is a necessity. Many individuals, they actually get trapped in what we call debt. It is a struggle to stay afloat and to be, free of financial challenges. But at Credit Registry, I want you to know that it is our mission to help to provide the knowledge and the tools that you will need in order to be able to navigate these turbulent financial waters. Throughout today's event, you are going to be joined and essentially informed and educated by our esteemed financial experts. I want to thank them for joining us. They're going to give you insights, they're going to give you advice, they're going to help you be able to avoid predatory lenders. We want you to build a solid financial foundation. You will be provided with all the tips, real world life scenarios, like the ones I just told you, the stories that actually can help you learn from others' mistakes so that you don't have to make them. At Credit Registry, I want you to leave today with knowing that we are just like you. We are your bureau. This has been a 20-year journey, and this is our 20th anniversary as Nigeria's largest credit bureau and the pioneer of the industry. We are fully licensed and regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and we serve millions of consumers just like you every day. Over the years, we have partners just like our speakers who have innovated, and we've made a revolutionary change in the way lending takes place today in Africa's largest economy, right here in Nigeria. But our story is not finished yet. We're going to dive into today's session. I want to give my deepest gratitude to our sponsor, Zenith Bank. Thank you so much, Lanre, for joining us at Zenith Bank. We also want to thank all of our speakers from Money in Minutes, Wema Bank, and Zenith Bank, of course, and our dedicated organizing team who has been led by our moderator, Ms. Vera Usuji. And of course, I cannot end without saying my gratitude to each and every one of you for making this event possible. Your presence here today is a testament to your commitment to financial well-being. I encourage you, get the most out of this discussion. You have the people who will tell you the real. So ask your questions, engage in this discussion. So without further ado, let's kickstart this enlightening 20-year journey to financial empowerment. Our first speaker is ready to take on the virtual stage. Let's stay connected. We want to enable you to trust this system, and we want to continue to empower each and every one of you. I wish you an enriching and enlightening experience today in our first Consumer Financial Literacy event. You are welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Jamila. Thank you. One of the things that stood out for me in that welcome address is the fact that she did mention that financial literacy is a necessity. And thank you everyone here for dropping your goals on the chat box. I can see a lot of people saying things like, I want to come out of debt trap, I want to avoid being a loan defaulter. Well, We're going to all learn together as we dive in. Now, before I call the next speaker, and before I introduce him, because they are sponsoring two people, and two people are going to be winning raffle, all courtesy to Zenith Bank, we have a video of Zenith Bank we want to play. So over to you, host. Can you click the sound? We can't hear the sound yet.
Are you interested in getting your products or services to more people, expanding your business, becoming more profitable, and a leader in your industry? If yes, then simply open a Zenith Bank SME Grow My Business account and get the extra edge you need. Access loans at competitive rates, get a free business website, free listing on Google My Business to make your offerings visible to over 100 million Nigerians online, free digital trainings on effective marketing techniques, access to business tools to improve operational efficiency, and so much more. Visit any of our branches today to get your Grow My Business account or www.zenithbank.com/SME to learn more.
All right, thank you so much. So the next speaker is the person of Mr. Lanre Oladimeji. Mr. Lanre is the group head retail banking Zenith Bank, and Mr. Lanre has over 25 years experience. Thank you, Jose, for that to come up. He has over 25 years banking experience spanning across different departments in banking. And prior to his current responsibility, he worked as, he has taken a zonal head position in Zenith Bank. He's a fellow of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, also a fellow of Chartered Taxation Institute. He's also an honorary senior member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. He is an accounting graduate of OAU Ife, and he has his MBA from the same university. He has won multiple awards and recognition for his brilliant, excellent, and highly professional performance. We are very excited to welcome you, Mr. Lanre. Over to you for your presentation. Let me say for your education. So over to you. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Vera, Madam Dr. Jamila, right? I hope I got it right. Congratulations for what you have been able to achieve, for making credit easily accessible to people, and for marking your 20 years anniversary. That's a good one, and we congratulate you for all those achievements. As said, my name is Lanre Oladimeji. I've spent almost all my entire work career with Zenith Bank, and I don't see myself working anywhere after Zenith. It's just for me to go and do my things. Zenith is a very good environment. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I will share my, can you please enable me to share my presentation?
Yes, yes. Admin, can you enable Mr. Lanre to share his screen? In the next, we have 20 more minutes for his presentation. Try now, sir. I think you can try now, sir. You should be able
Okay,
to.
can you see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning again, participants. And the subject I've been asked to discuss with you all is on lending, the credit bureau, and the loan sharks. This is my profile. Again, I work with Zenith Bank, and Zenith and Credit Registry have been partners for years. My presentation will go along this. I have just 6 slides for you. I'll be starting with what is lending. Why do you even need to take a loan? Is a loan a good thing or a bad thing? What are the various funding options that is open to you if you have decided that I want to take a loan? And what does bank look for them to say, oh, I want to deal with this person? Who are credit bureaus and what do they do? And of course, the scary one that most people talk about, the loan sharks. And I will then conclude. So what is lending? Of course, there's nobody here that may not have maybe taken money from either a friend or give money to a friend. If you are giving those, or if you are giving or receiving without any interest, that's not lending. You are just maybe giving assistance. But in a situation where you take money from either a finance house, a finance institution, and you pay interest on it, that is where lending come about. So a loan is the transfer of money from one party to the other with the agreement to pay it back. You must pay back, because if you don't pay back, we'll see several consequences, which we are going to talk about. And because of the audience that I have here, I believe that I should go so low in terms of, discussion, so that I don't take anybody out of what we are discussing. And what are the categories of lending? We have personal lending, that is money that you take as an individual, either from your friends, from a bank, or from any other institution. And then we have business lending, that I want to use this money to grow what I'm doing, to expand the scope of my business. Which one puts people in trouble most? It's majorly personal lending, because that is where people do not have a specific purpose. You want to take a loan to buy maybe a consuming items that is not yielding anything. That's where we see so many people have challenges. But when you are taking loan for a business expansion, of course, excuse me, there is a focus. There's what you want to use that money for. And we'll see the benefit of that as we go along. Then the next is, why do I need to take a loan? Because you don't just sit down and say, okay, this is what I just go to the bank without a particular purpose. Because if there's no purpose, then you will not be able to put your case before anybody that wants to give you loan, either the banks or any other institution, or even friends and families that may want to support you. So there are several purposes that people put forward for them to say, I want to take a loan. One is capital. I want to expand my business. I've started this business and I need equity. Equity means that what I have in terms of ensuring that the business grows is not enough for me to actually use to grow the business. So I need parties that will come into the business, that will be my partners, that will put money into the business in form of equity. Equity means that you are not taking it as a loan. They are your partners in such a way that when you make profit, that's when you return funds to them in terms of interest that you are going to pay to them. But when it is a loan, they are not part of your business. They are just enablers. They are enabling your business to grow. Then you can say, I want to use this facility to finance an asset. You may be running a business and say, I want to buy a vehicle or a truck that will enable me move my product from one location to the other. Instead of renting, which come with some challenges in terms of I'm not sure of whom I'm giving my products to, but I want to acquire so that I can have my truck, I can deliver to where I'm delivering to, and I can be timely in my business. So I want to buy an asset. You can equally buy a machine. You can buy a whole lot of things for you to finance, to ensure that your business continues to grow. Then you talk about working capital, that I've been running this business now, but I have a situation where the capital that I have is not enough again, and I need facility for me to meet an order. You may be working for or have an LPO from a company like Nestle or any of the multinationals, and assuming they're giving you an LPO worth 100 million, and what you have in terms of your working capital is just 50 million. How do you now meet the term of supplying or honoring that particular LPO so that you can make money? So you will need to go to the bank to say, can you give me some funds in terms of cash flow? To augment my cash flow to be able to meet the demand that I have, which is to honor an LPO that has been given to me by a multinational. And those are the kind of things the banks want. You may wonder, all the funds that banks have, where do they put them? They put them in businesses for businesses to grow so that banks too can earn interest. And then the last one I have here is working capital, to run my business. You want to pay salaries, you are supplied to the likes of Nestle. But Nestle will not pay you immediately. They have their own process of looking at what you supplied. Does it meet their requirements? Is it in terms? Did they meet the terms of the PO they've given to you? That normally takes time. Maybe 30 minutes, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. That's where you need working capital, because you have used what you have to fund the LPO in addition to the loan you are even taking from the bank. So you need running expenses to pay salaries, to continue to run your business before Nestle pays you. These are the kind of things that banks actually want. That, look, I'm expecting inflow as a result of the job I've done for a multinational. They will jump at it. Then we have, when you have decided that, yes, I need funding, there are several ways in which you can now look at, how do I get the funding, depending on the type of business that you do. And I've listed here 6 major options that you can look at. The first one, which anybody should take advantage of, is self-funding. Because of the benefit, I want to continue to do my business. I want to start from the funds or the money I have put aside. And the benefit of that is that you are not paying anything on it. The major drawback to that, is that maybe the fund is for another purpose. So you channel it into your business. The second one is families and friends. Of course, your family members want to support you and see you grow. The benefit is that it may be at no cost, or the cost may be so low as a way of supporting you. But the challenge is that if you don't pay back that loan, you have friction with family members, and it can go so bad that you don't want to experience that. The next one is business savings / cash reserve. If you do business, of course, you make profit. The profit that you make, you spend everything. A prudent person will not spend all the profit that he makes. So you can use that to equally grow your business. It's a funding option. The benefit, again, is that it is low cost. But the drawback is that it depletes the emergency funds that you are keeping aside. The fourth one is suppliers finance, and this is very, very important, and we should take note of this if you are doing business. If you go to the likes of Egbano today, you see several products there. Do you think Egbano is the one that have all the products that are there, or they use their funding, their capital to stock their location, or ShopRite, or any of the supermarkets? The answer is no. They get products from these manufacturers, from the suppliers, at maybe pay me back in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days. So it is the suppliers that are actually funding them. That's why they are able to sell to you at a discount. When you look at what you are going to get from them in terms of pricing, it's likely to be lower than what you are going to get from another store that is not as big as them, because the other store may be buying for cash. They may even be buying using the bank's facility where they are going to pay interest on them. But if you have suppliers finance, the interest cost within those periods of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days that you pay the multinationals are free. So that interest cost that is free, you are able to now pass it to your suppliers, and you now have a repeat purchase, and use that to grow your business. The drawback is that it's always short term. Short term. At times, some may even say, we are not going to give this these products to you more than 15 days. And then the one that I want everybody to note is banks. The banks does not close their door to anyone. And what you can get there is very, very flexible. You can get any amount. Of course, if you want to self-fund, the amount of capital you have is limited. Family and friends, there is limit to what they can give to you. There's limitation to what you can plow back in terms of reserve. Suppliers finance, I just mentioned it. But banks, as you grow your business, you can take any limit. There's no limit to the amount of money you can get from banks. Once the banks can see a way in and a way out in terms of what they are giving to you. So it's highly flexible and it is always available. And apart from that, you take a tax advantage. If you take money from bank, the interest you are paying to the banks, you can take it off your tax liability that you pay to the government. And then the last one, which is the key part of our discussion, is the alternative finance. Of course, we have several microfinance banks. We have finance houses that are licensed, but we have other ones that are equally non-licensed. And we'll be talking about them. Those ones, those are the ones that we call loan sharks. And those are the ones that can give you money at any point in time without you thinking about it. Their interest rate can be as high as 120% per annum, which means if you take 1 million, if you don't pay back, or you pay back every month at 10%, you pay back 1.2 million. So if you take 1 million, you pay 1.2 million as interest. What business do you want to do to be able to pay such an interest? So you should avoid them as much as you can. Then what does bank consider? These are the 5 C's that any lending organization consider worldwide, not only peculiar to our environment. If you're able to meet this, I'm sure you're able to actually take loan from the banks and it will reduce your interest cost. The first one is who you are, your character. Your character. And that's where the bureaus, that's where credit registry come in. If your character is defective, you take a loan from somebody you don't pay back, they will list your name in the credit bureau and you may not be able to take facility again. As a bank, it's one of the key principles of lending that once you take a loan and you have a defective credit rating, with the bureau, then we don't give you facility. And I know that's the same thing for most banks, because once you soil a particular finger, it will just spread to all the other fingers. So you have to guide your character. That is your brand. That is who you are. Your character is everything about you. If you allow your character to be messed up by taking facility, it will rub off on every other thing that you are doing. So this is very, very important. Guide yourself, guide your character, ensure that you don't mess up your character. So that when people go to credit bureau to go and check, the loan that I have taken, am I paying? I pay back. Everybody will be willing to lend to you. But once you mess up your character, nobody will be willing to lend to you, and you will not be able to grow your business. The second one is the capacity. Oh, I have a good character, but do I have the capacity to actually run the business that I'm giving to the bank that I want to take facility for? You have taken facility, you have gone to the likes of Nestle that I give an example. You know somebody there, they've given you LPO of 500 million. Meanwhile, you have not done a job of 50 million in the past. So that is capacity. You have not demonstrated a capacity that you can do that job. So you must start from the little and you start growing as you move along. The third one is collateral. A bank will ask you, okay, I want to give you this facility. What do you have to put on ground? And it's not compulsory that you have collateral in all cases. If you have built your track record with the banks, they may not even ask for collateral from you. And the type of loan that we are even discussing here are low value facilities that you may not need collateral. The bank just looked at who you are. I think in the beginning of the presentation, we have our SME slide that was, creative that was, displayed to us. We have facilities in the bank that you don't even need any collateral for you to access. So, but you cannot get that until we look at your character, we look at your capacity before we now start talking about that. Then condition. Assuming I've given you loan, what are the conditions for you to access this facility? I mentioned again that one of the, excuse me. One of the conditions we look at as a bank for us to disburse our facility is that your credit rating must be positive. Nobody says you cannot borrow money. In fact, we want to lend to you if you have demonstrated that you have taken money in the past and you have paid back. Once you are able to demonstrate that, which means you know what it is to take facility and you know what it is to pay back. Then the last one is capital. If you don't have your skin in the game, nobody will be willing to lend to you. So you must have your skin in the game. If you want to take 100 million or even 10 million, I must be able to say, oh, I must be able to see that you have 2-3 million for you to equally put in the business. The next one, my next slide is, why do we now have the credit bureau? Who are they? Credit bureau is just a reporting agency. They report about the information on the lenders. And they make this available to other third parties that want to assess who you are before they give money to you. That's what they do. And they do it at a cost, really. I know maybe they may, I think a doctor mentioned that I think they've been able to make 800-something% from the slide that I saw in terms of what they've been able to do. It shows that individuals, corporate organizations are assessing the credit information about who they want to do business with. So if your credit information is defective, you are putting yourself in danger in terms of growth. You may not be able to grow because once I see that you have defaulted, the next thing is for me to run away from you. So you have to guard your credit rating in the best way you can. That is your brand. Your brand is yourself. Your brand is who you are. And your brand is your ability to actually grow whatever you are doing. So if you don't have credit rating, you don't have positive credit rating, your brand is defective. Who you are is defective. And people will run away from you. So why do they exist? I want to take mortgage. I want to be able to check. I want to give you mortgage. I want to be able to check that the person I'm giving money to will be able to pay me back. And even if you go to some key multinationals, I remember when I was managing Zones, you see multinationals, we introduce them to the credit bureau. You see some people come and say, I want to be a distributor. After taking the product of the multinationals, they will not pay back. They sell those products and make away with it, with the funds that they have collected. So
Sorry, allow me to come in. I just want to let you know that you have 4 minutes. I've been dropping a chat with you. So kindly round up in 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I will just leave that and I will go to loan sharks. This is one of the key subjects. Who are they? A loan shark is a person who or an entity that loan money at extremely high interest rates. They'll give you whatever you want, but the interest rate is high and you may not be able to pay. If you go to the internet, you just see a pop-up to you. You want loan, easy loan. They give you at maybe 1 million, 2 million at 10% interest rate. I mentioned it, which means if you take 1 million, you are paying 120 back, 1.2 million back at the end of the year. So if you take 1 million, you pay interest of 100%, 100,000 in a month. So you have to be very, very careful of them. And CBN does not want them to actually operate. CBN has warned that they are of high risk and we should avoid them as much as we can. So why are loan sharks called sharks? Because their lending activities are unregulated. They send provocative message. They want to get the negative out of you so that you can get angry and behave in an abnormal way. And then they will now use that to even arrest you and say this. You can even, when you behave in an abnormal way, it can cause a whole lot of harm to a third party. So let's try to find a way to avoid them. Then there are a whole lot of loan apps that you see. Be very careful that you don't run into problems. Some of them I've mentioned here. I don't need to repeat them. I think you can see some of them here. Then how do you recognize them? Loan sharks are always, they are easy to, I mentioned the 5 C's of credit. They don't request for any 5 C's from you. They just give you loan and then pursue you for you to pay back. They offer loan at high interest rate. They are faceless. You don't even know where they are operating from. And they create a sense of urgency on you that, oh, you need this loan. And after taking it, they come after you. So why you should not borrow from loan sharks? Of course, we mentioned some of them. High interest rate, access to your BVN. They will have access to your BVN and they can blacklist you and you'll not be able to, borrow money again. They harass you, addition cycle, because when you borrow money from one loan shark, if you don't pay back, you go to another one, and before you know, it becomes a cycle, and you're not able to get out of it, and tough repayment terms. So in conclusion, if you guard yourself, you maintain a positive credit rating, banks will always want to lend to you. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lanre. I wish you were looking at the charts. Everybody is like, wow. Thank you so much for sharing information with us. But I have some questions here for you. I want to start with what somebody dropped in the chat. And before I go in, please, everyone, I want to say that should you have questions, please go to the Q&A, not the chat, and drop your questions on the Q&A. Be sure to make sure that your questions are answered. So the first question, someone is asking, said that I thought loan is always open to those with salary. That is one. Number two, I have a question here. Someone says that creditors came to embarrass me and create scene in my former office to the extent that I was sacked from the job because of the loan I collected that brought embarrassment to the company. So what do you advise this person to do? So can you take the 2 questions before I ask the other ones? Mr. Larry, did you hear we can't hear you. You're muted. Okay. You're still muted, sir. Please, can you check? Someone is saying Q&A is disabled, but I'm getting questions on Q&A. Whoever this is, try again, but admin, can you check Q&A? Mr. Larry, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself? We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. And I'll start from the second question because of the importance of that. Let me cite a clear, let me give some, some little stories. Just one of them anyway. I got 2 people employed here in my group. And 2 of them, when they were coming to the bank, they already borrowed money from NASA Microfinance. I can mention them. NASA Microfinance. And they didn't pay back those loans. And when they came here, the human resources said that they either pay that loan or they will not, confirm them. So they are in a fix. I have to intervene by ensuring that they turn those loans into like a term loan for them for 3 months so that they can pay back over a period of time. So that, they make it a performing loan. That's why they were employed. Because once it's not a performing loan, nobody will be able to employ you. So you can see what people run into by getting themselves into the net of these loan sharks. What you're supposed to do, because there are ways out really, they have been able to take you out of your job, but the point is that you may not even know where they operate from. Because what you should have done is for you to go to the law enforcement agencies for them to say, okay, this is the problem I run. Because taking a loan is not a crime. Taking a loan is not a criminal offense. Not paying back is a challenge, which is one of the key things we are discussing here, that you'll be blacklisted, but it's not a crime because there may be 1 or 2 reasons that may not make you to pay back that are genuine reasons why you are not able to pay. So what you should go to, but don't run away. You too, when you take facility, don't run away from your creditors. Negotiate with them if you have challenges. Let your loan be performing. If you say you are going to pay back in 3 months, you are not able to pay back. Negotiate with them. Tell them, look, I can't pay back in 3 months. I will pay back in 9 months, but can you please reduce the interest so that I can be comfortable in paying? That's what they call negotiating a loan. You can restructure it. But when you run away from your creditors, they will take actions. Assuming you speak to them, they will not come to your office. And you will not lose your job. Now you have lost your job. It's already in your profile. If your organization is the one that is very liberal, they will tell you to resign. If it's an organization that is not liberal, they will say your employment is terminated. And they will put the reason why your employment is terminated, that you are sacked because you took a loan and you didn't pay back. You can see what that can do to you. It will continue to be with you forever. So don't put yourself in such situation. If you take a loan, you are not able to pay back, extend the tenure of the loan. Negotiate the interest rate. Let your loan be performing. That's the key thing. And then the second one is that maybe loan is available to only the salary earners. That's not the case. We give loan to salary earners, we give loan to SMEs, and we give loan to anybody that is qualified. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have 2 more questions, but if someone asks a question, a mess has been created, how do I get out of it? Kindly note that that question has been answered already by Mr. Lanre. So I have just 2 more questions for you, sir. This person is saying, first time I took a loan was when my dad passed, my final year in school. I took the loan to get through tough time in school with no plan how I would pay back. I kept taking from others to pay outstanding. I was always looking for loan apps that would give me enough to clear off the others at once. Then I settle and be paying installments to clear it off once and for all, but never got to pay it off. This is one. I just have 2 more here, which you haven't really addressed. This is actually because it's a consumer webinar, people are sharing their problems. So this person's problem is said that he got 4 million loan from a deposit money bank to fund expansion of the company flatbed business. And later on, FG came out with ETO app to regulate truck access to APTMT, Tinkan, Port and Cargo etc. And their income from 2 brand flatbed dried up following inability to access ports, even though they were registered with ETO app. However, person went further to say subsequent fiscal and monetary policies of government collapsed the port economy and imports shrunk. And of course, they were directly affected as prices for trucks came down. And this person's question is, with all these economic challenges that has happened, how best can he approach his bank? You know, knowing that with all the scenarios, these are factors beyond his control. How can the bank understand? What's the best language you can tell the bank to understand that these factors are beyond his control? So these are the 2 last questions, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. I think let me take the first one. The participant that lost the parent and he or she have to take a loan. I think he or she should be one of the beneficiaries of what we are giving out as Zenith from Zenith. She should be one of the beneficiaries. I share in your loss, but the key thing, just like I said, is that don't run away from your creditors. Don't run away from them. Negotiate with them. They are human beings, and that's why you should not go to loan sharks. There are finance houses that give loans that their interest rate may be higher than what the banks give, but there are still human beings there that will be able to understand with you. So don't go to loan sharks. And if you have gone to them, you are in it already, find a way. It may be very, very painful. Find a way to sort yourself out in terms of pay them back, let everybody go. Let's go and get your positive credit record. The second one is business challenge. And business challenge can always come up. During the COVID era, so many businesses ran into issues similar to what you have just painted. And what you should do is to negotiate with your banks, negotiate with the creditors. This is the challenge I have. Invite them to your office, let them see what has happened, write them officially. If you have a very nasty account officer, which we can have, we may not even understand. Of course, we are a bank. Put pressure on the relationship officer who booked the loan, but the relationship officer is not the owner of the bank. It's just working for the bank like me. So if he or she is not understanding your plight, it is your responsibility to pick up yourself, go to the manager, go to the zonal head, go to whoever you can get to in the bank. This is the challenge I have. Paint it very well for them. They will listen to you. They will always, always listen to you. And nobody wants you to die. If you don't pay that money and the pressure becomes so much on you and the unforeseen happen, who has lost? The bank has lost you. So nobody wants anybody to be in a very tight situation. So bring up the issue, negotiate your way out. If you have the idea for you to set up the business in the first place, you will equally have the idea for you to take yourself out. There's always a way out. But if you run away from your creditors, you will always have challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So the person that just won, I think we have 2 lists people already, but that is fine. The person that just won on account of Mr. Lanre is Justina Free. I don't know if you're here. If you're not here, we're going to reach out to you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again. Before we go to the next presentation, please, once again, can you play Zenith Bank's video before we go to the next presenter? Thank you, sir. We have questions. Don't worry, I'm going to make sure your questions are asked. I can see Elizabeth is saying, can you ask my question? Just don't relax. Your questions will be asked. Admin, kindly play the video for Zenith Bank.
Are you interested in getting your products or services to more people, expanding your business, becoming more profitable, and a leader in your industry? If yes, then simply open a Zenith Bank SME Grow My Business account and get the extra edge you need. Access loans at competitive rates, get a free business website, free listing on Google My Business to make your offerings visible to over 100 million Nigerians online, free digital trainings on effective marketing techniques, access to business tools to improve operational efficiency, and so much more. Visit any of our branches today to get your Grow My Business account or www.zenithbank.com/SME to learn more.
So thank you once again. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Lanre. That was quite impactful. You've impacted the lives of so many consumers here. Everybody's saying that your session is quite educative. Thank you once again. So without much ado, I'm going to go straight to the next speaker. Kindly pull up the slide. The presentation, please, admin. So the next speaker, while this slide is coming up, is Foyinshola Akinwade. She is the head of products at Money in Minutes. Now, Foyinshola is a highly accomplished professional in the field of product management and solution development in the fintech space. She's currently the head of products at Money in Minutes, and she has played a pivotal role in shaping the product strategy of this organization and delivering innovative solutions to meet customers' needs. She is an alumna of the prestigious University of Lagos, and she also is a certified Scrum products owner. There's so much here to read on her, but I'm very excited to welcome you, Foyinshola. Foyin, I'll just have to get her name to Foyin. So Foyin, if you're here, over to you, please. Can you share your video, show your video and unmute yourself and go ahead with your presentation. Thank you. And everyone in the audience, kindly please bring your, keep your questions and answers coming. And this has been educative. Go ahead and share this with people out there that you think need to learn from us. And also, all speakers, if you're able to answer some of the questions on the Q&A live, please go ahead and answer the questions live for all our audience, everyone on the host and panelist side. Thank you. Over to you, Foyin.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It is nice to be on this event. Thank you to Credit Registry for hosting this. I've seen a lot of questions in the comment section, and I hope that a lot of people will be able to gather knowledge from this session and apply that to their day-to-day. Please, can you pull up my slide? Okay, thank you. So I'm the head of product at Money in Minutes. Money in Minutes is a financial institution with over 20 years experience in the lending space. We started our operations in the United States and then in the United Kingdom before coming to Nigeria in 2020 to create financial services and offer loan products to the underrated in Nigeria. Next slide, please. Next slide. Can I share my screen instead if there's an issue?
Queen, please, you can share your screen, please, just to make it faster for you. I
Okay.
think, yes, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. So let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll be
For your presentation, ma'am, just 20 minutes. Thanks.
all right. So I'll be speaking to you today on the topic how to escape falling victim of loan sharks. First, who are the loan sharks? Mr. Larry has spoken extensively on this earlier. Loan sharks are people or individuals that would offer you loans at very high interest rates. That's the first thing to note about them. The interest rate is out of the world. Yeah, by the time you compare them to other lenders in the industry, you will find that their interest rates are exorbitant. Also, they target people with low credit scores. So typically your credit score is what lenders look at first of all before they can lend you a loan. Yeah, but then the loan sharks, they do not mind if you have poor credit history. They will lend to you because they know that you have limited access to traditional financial institutions or the banks, and you are a prey to them. They also operate out of legal and regulated financial systems. They are not regulated by CBN. They are not consumer. They don't have. They are not compliant with NDPR or CPC compliant. When you visit their website or you visit their app, you won't find all of those CBN logo, NDPR logo, FCPC logo on their sites. It means that they are not licensed and they are not regulated, and they can act anyhow because they do not answer to any regulatory body. So how do you identify loan sharks? Red flags for you to know that this person or this company I'm dealing with is a loan shark. The first thing is that they offer loans with very bad terms. So they are offering you loans for you to pay back in 2 weeks. They are giving you repayment schedules that do not meet your need. They are giving you bad terms and conditions that are not favorable to you, but because you are desperate at that point, you do not mind. So that's one red flag. Another thing is that they provide loans with little or no documentation. So like I mentioned earlier, the first thing your lenders look at is your credit report. If anybody is lending to you with a bad credit score, then be careful. Yeah, because we financial institutions want to take low risk. We don't want to take risk of lending to someone that is not going to pay back. And your credit report covers that. Your credit report shows your credit history. It shows your credit score. So if someone wants to lend you money, a company or an organization wants to lend you money, they're not asking for your credit report. They're not asking for your bank statement. They're not asking for so many information about you to be able to prove that you are eligible and you are reliable. You want to be careful. They call it unsecured loans, and the only thing they ask you for is your BVN. With this, they're ready to give you any amount. That is a red flag that you want to be aware of. The third thing is that they have high unexplained rates. Like I mentioned earlier, before you take a loan, you want to do something called window shopping. Go through different loan applications and different loan companies, check for their rates and compare. That is why financial institutions are very competitive interest rate, because all of us want to attract you. We want you to come and take loan with us. But then if you are taking a loan from a company with higher interest rates that doesn't even match with the range of interest that you found in the market, then you want to be aware. Also, they require unauthorized access to your contact, to your media, social media accounts. So while you're applying for the loan, they're asking you for your Facebook and your Instagram handle. They're asking you for your address of your place of worship. They're asking you for your office address and all of that. They're asking that they want to be able to access the photos and videos on your device. They're asking that they want to be able to read your contacts on your mobile device. that is a red flag, because all of this is them preparing you for the harassment and every other thing they will do to you if you default in that loan. So be careful when you get requests to access all of those information on your device. You might just be falling prey to a loan shark. Also, they pressure you into borrowing more from them to repay one debt with another. Any organization would not do that. If you are owing a company, they expect you to pay back and check your credit score again before they can offer you another loan. But then these people will say, okay, now you're owing us, we'll borrow you more money so that you can settle that previous loan and all of that. So it is a cycle that would never end if you do not pay back on time. So beware of that also. Next is they resort to tactics such as harassment, intimidation, blackmail, and outright violence that we are all familiar with, and so many people have mentioned in the comment section. They start visiting your place of work. They start sending WhatsApp broadcasts about you, defaming the person. Those are red flags and ways for you to identify loan sharks. Now, I'll be sharing 12 tips on how to escape falling victims to loan sharks. The number one thing is to research and ensure that they are licensed. Like I mentioned earlier, loan sharks are not licensed, they operate illegally. So you want to research and ensure that whatever organization you're borrowing from is licensed by CBN. They are also a part of the Consumer Protection Council, so that your right as a borrower or as an individual is protected. Also, avoid unreasonable interest rates. If somebody is offering you a loan of 50K and they're telling you are going to pay back 50% in 2 weeks or in 4 weeks, that is high. Run for your life. Avoid unreasonable interest rates. Next is read and understand the terms of conditions. Most of them would not give you documentations. Yeah, but if at all they will, it's going to be so bulky that you cannot even go through them, and then you're just forced to sign. Most of us sign a lot of things that we do not read. So be careful, understand their terms and conditions, read and understand, ask questions. If there is something that is not clear about your loan, ask them questions. Another thing is that these people are really poor at communication. They're not professional. And so from the moment you start asking questions, they are already giving you attitude. You can already tell that I'm falling into a trap. But then because, again, we are desperate for that money, we ignore all of this. So ask questions, let them be transparent about the loan terms, about your repayment schedule, about the interest rate, about the tenure, to be sure that whatever they're offering you suits your need at that time. Next is avoid threat and harassment. They often resort to threats, telling you they will do this, they will do that. Avoid it as much as possible. And one way to avoid threats and harassment is to ensure that you pay on time. By the time it's getting to them harassing you, sending messages to your contact and all of that, report them. It is your right. Report them to the police or any body that can protect you. The next thing to escape falling victim of loan sharks is to check for reviews online. You just have to Google them. I came across a support group on Facebook for people that are falling victim of loan sharks. So when you go through such review, you will see the list of all these companies. You will see what people have gone through dealing with them. Before you download their mobile app, check for reviews on Google Play Store. You will see the bad reviews. Even just typing their name alone, it tells you a whole lot and tells you to just stay away from doing business with these people. The next thing is secure your contract, and that's your loan terms and agreement. Ensure that it is clear. If you cannot read it yourself, share it with somebody that can review it for you in case of disputes in the future. The next thing is to know your rights. Like Mr. Lanre said, it's not a crime to borrow. It's not a crime to take a loan. Excuse me. So familiarize yourself with consumer protection laws in Nigeria. Report them to authorized and relevant authorities that will fight for you. If they are treating you in ways that they shouldn't be doing, report them to the relevant authorities. Know your rights. Also build an emergency fund over time to help you with unexpected expenses. So that is another reason why people fall into traps with loan sharks, because there's no emergency savings, especially people that are borrowing for personal purposes. So even if it's 200 naira per day, 500 naira per day, depending on your income, try to save as much as possible, build an emergency fund, so that in the case where you need money urgently, where you are desperate, you won't be desperate enough to take loan from a loan shark, but you'll be able to stand on your own and help yourself. Next is beware of aggressive sales tactics. So they are often pressuring you into take this loan. You've not submitted this, they are always calling you, like rushing you to do things without letting you take your time to read and understand their terms and conditions. So when someone is pressuring you into taking a loan and all of that, take your time and be careful. Don't let them make you succumb into their trap. Yeah. Next is borrow for the right purpose. Avoid borrowing for non-essential needs. If it's not necessary, don't borrow for it. Live within your means. Another thing is that most of us do not live according to our income bracket, and that is why you have to borrow. If you can afford a mini flat, why are you renting a 3-bedroom flat? If you can afford a public school, why are you going to a private school? So live within your means, borrow for the right purpose. Don't borrow money for Ashwebi or borrow money for somebody's wedding or somebody's burial. Ensure that you are lending for something that will generate income for you, or something that will put you on the path to generating income, not just for non-essential things. Yeah, and then have a loan payback plan. Another reason why people fall victim of loan sharks is because they do not have the plan of paying back. You just think that you can take a loan and you wouldn't pay back. That's not right. Change that mindset. Nobody has money somewhere that they just want to give out. So have a payback plan. If you know that you can only pay back within 3 months, don't take a loan where they will tell you that the term is 2 weeks. If you know that you can only take a loan for 12 months, don't take a loan where the repayment plan is 3 months. Plan yourself well. How much do I earn? What is my income rate? And that is how you'll be able to pay back and get a loan that works for you, so that you pay your loan as a when due, to avoid all the harassment and threats from the loan sharks. So if you are falling victim, you've made the mistake of taking loan from a loan shark, how do you get out of it? The first thing is to speak to someone about it. Mental health is very necessary. These people mess with your brain, and it seems like you're losing it. It even drives some people to suicidal thought or suicidal attempt. Talk to someone about it. There's nothing new under the face of the earth. You wouldn't be the first person to be experiencing it. Try to talk to someone about it and seek help from your close friends and family. Try to get people to rally around to gather money for you to pay back. And then you can pay your family members later without interest. Yeah. Also, you can restructure your loan. Some loan companies offer restructure, where after you've been in arrears and you did not pay back, they offer you restructure for you to be able to pay back your loan at the terms that you have agreed on. So look for restructure options, look for buyback options. Some banks or microfinances are willing to buy your loan, pay it on your behalf, and then now have a new structure with you. Again, that is depending on your credit score. Different companies have the way they work in terms of restructuring and buying back loans. So try to get help. Also consider getting law enforcement involved. If your life is being threatened, or your family is being threatened, get law enforcement involved. And then make conscious effort to live based on your income level. Live within your means. Don't do more than yourself or borrow money for things that are not essential. Then start a business and get a job. Look for something that will generate income for you. Don't be dependent on loans or dependent on people who are going to help me. some people do not have plans. Yeah, like I said, they don't have plans of paying back and they just feel like they'll get away with it. But try to get a job, try to get something, no matter how little it is. As a student, there are little business you can do, there are side business you can do to get wages that you can use to pay back this loan. Yeah, so that is all from me. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Fonyi, for being so on point, on time, actually, not on point, I meant to say, thank you. So I do have some questions, but I just want to ask a question from somebody here. I think you have a customer, someone that believes in your brand, right? And this person is saying that he has been on your platform for more than 2 years and applied for SME. And we didn't give to him. I know there may be reasons, business reasons or strategy reasons. So if there's any strategic reason for, I don't know, kindly just, speak to the mind of this particular customer. His name is Alex Magona. So let's go ahead and talk to Alex, if Alex is still here.
All right. Hi, Alex. Thank you for that question. So we recently went live with the SME business loan, and it was targeted for individuals, people that are registered, that have companies that are registered under CAC. They have their CAC document. And also, this loan is backed by collateral. So you need to have a collateral for you to qualify for this loan. That means your business has a machine or a car or something that you're willing to drop for us to be able to offer you an SME business loan. Also, you need, again, your credit score. You need to have paid back all your loans in the past diligently, paid them at the due time and not have defaulted for you to qualify for this loan. So if you think that none of this applies to you and you really are eligible for this loan, you can send me a mail and I'll reach out to you. If not, well, sorry, please try to get another product that aligns more with your need. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just wanted to give you a personal touch with people that believe in your brand, actually. Thank you. So I have a news from my communication team. So I've been asked to announce that there is a gift from the team for some people here too. Today is just flying gifts everywhere in the air. So you're expected to copy the link. We've shared the link on the chat. Copy the link to this webinar, post it on your handles, invite your friends to join, and then tag our handles. If you're doing it on Instagram, you know our social media handle on Instagram, you know our social media handle on LinkedIn and Facebook. Just tag it. We're going to get back to you by tomorrow with the person with the highest likes will win something from this team. I wish I'm actually on the other side at this point, So I also have, just hold on with me, hang in there, please. I have 2 more questions for you, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so someone is asking, she's saying, this is from a woman that took a loan to take her children to private universities, and she is still repaying. Because I know she's saying that her challenges are few but critical, even though she's still repaying high cost of food items, fuel pump price for her car, which she almost sold in order to cope, another responsibility which is not foreseen. Because this is consumer webinar and these are more emotional outbursts, somehow the consumers will feel very happy just hearing some soothing and encouraging and advisory words from lenders, which is why we're asking this question. So I believe this woman wants to hear some kind of soothing words from you, and the second question, so I wouldn't exactly call this a question, really. She's actually paying. She's a good customer. She's repaying, but she's just pouring herself. So a soothing word from you will help to her. And next thing is, she's saying nothing more than, she said, someone is saying that it's just another lamentation. I don't know what you have to say. She said, interest loan is a step to poverty for her right now in Nigeria, instead of delivery means from financial suffering. So please, we would like some feedback from you to these 2 people.
Okay.
Just 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so for the woman that had to borrow to send her children to private university, yeah, so you did well trying to invest in your children's education. what can I say, as much as possible. The economy is bad. Yes, high cost of living, but try to cut down on your expenses. Try to have a monthly budget. So at the moment, you know how much you earn, and then try to be able to cut out a particular amount that you know that this is the amount I am paying the loan company every month. And now budget with what is left. Don't live above your budget. But then please let your loan repayment be the top of your mind, because trust me, there's nothing like peace of mind after you're able to repay that loan. And once you're able to repay back that loan, then you'll be back on your feet. But try as much as well to take that, don't even see it as an income, because that money is going back to the loan company. But try as much as possible to live within your means. Cut down. For your car, you can park your car down for now and don't even drive it because of the cost of fuel and all of that. Don't go out if it's not necessary. Don't do certain things that are not necessary at the moment. And I hope that you will reap the fruit of your labor on your children very soon. Then the next question, sorry.
Okay, it's just a lament. It's someone lamenting the high interest loan. It's just a step to poverty for her.
Okay, thank you.
From financial suffering.
Yes, so regarding interest rates, there are a lot of companies, financial institutions, microfinance banks that are offering low interest rates. That's what I mentioned, that if you want to borrow money, do like you are window shopping, access all the financial institutions, check for the ones that are offering the lowest possible rates that suit your need. Don't be too desperate to take a loan, and so you don't look at others. Check from MIM, check from Fairmoney, check from Rent Money, check everywhere and find the one that suits your need. Also, we have a product called Wagex. Wagex is currently going for 5% or 7% per month. Now, how we offer Wagex is that your company signs up with us and they pay back the loan. So they deduct it from your salary before paying you your balance at the end of the month. That helps you with repayment also, and the interest rate is very affordable. So just do your research and find a company that offers the lowest interest rates for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that advice to compare interest rates and institutions. For audience there, I know you're aware that there are organizations that on their portal, you can just go and compare different institutions. So just go and type in on your Google loan compare organizations in Nigeria. It's going to pop it up to some of them. I know there's one called Naira Compare also, and a few others. So just go ahead and type in, and you should be able to compare interest rates and different lenders, right? Before you go ahead and take that decision who you're going to get in bed with when it comes to credit. So thank you once again for joining us. The next person coming, so Tony, while you're leaving, kindly continue to answer questions on the Q&A because people still want to hear from you. Okay.
All right.
Thank you once again.
You.
Yeah. Also everyone here, please don't forget the announcement from my communication team. So please go copy this link to your social media handles. Talk about what you have learned. Actually, what have you learned? Just a summary of what you have learned from this webinar today. Then tag us on LinkedIn, tag us on Twitter, tag us on Facebook, and tag us on Instagram. You never can tell. I don't know. The team, they're too much. You never can tell what they have in stock. I don't even know. They didn't tell me because they now come and spill it out here. Yeah. All right. So thank you once again. We're going to go to the next speaker. The next speaker is Chinedu Nwatama. Chinedu, please pardon me. I think I got it right. Chinedu is the head of SME advisory and non-financial services at Wema Bank PLC. He's a banker and a strategy professional with multi-sectoral experience, which spans from both SME banking, business advisory, startups, green finance. I just love the sound of the green finance actually for personal reasons, value chain finance and local economic development. And presently, like I mentioned, he is heading the SME advisory and non-financial services and as well as SME Green Finance team at Wema Bank PLC. A lot of us know about ALAT here. Now, Chinedu is a graduate of University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He also has attended various technical and strategic learning programs in banking, credit management, product management, and project management, green finance, gender finance, and business development support organized by reputable organizations such as Frankfurt School of Finance and Management in Germany, Pan-African University, Lagos, Nigeria, and Philip Consulting Limited, Lagos, Nigeria. So, Chinedu, we are happy to have you here. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much for having me. Please confirm that you can see me and that you can hear me.
I can't see you yet, but I can hear you. I can see your screen. Chinedu, do you want to share your screen just for ease of movement for you?
Yes, I think that would be better. I would share it from my end.
Let me kindly enable Chinedu to share his screen. Thank you. All right, Chinedu, can you turn on your video? I can't see.
So can you see me now?
Okay, I think some people say they can. We can only see you. Because someone says they can see you though, but I can't. But I can see your screen.
I can't also see myself. That's why I keep asking.
Just check your camera. I know we did this earlier. We did some checks in the morning.
Definitely.
And people are here
So,
saying that they use Wema Bank, they're interested in listening to you loud and clear. So I think you can go ahead.
it's no problem. Just let me know when you can
give
see.
advice on what he can do quickly in 2 minutes on his video. Can you click your video where you see that is next to mute? Have you clicked it?
Yes, my video is actually on, but I can't see myself.
Sometimes we close our cameras, and when we have to talk, we take it off. Are you sure you didn't close your camera? Can you check your camera just to be sure it's not closed? It's selected for something. Anyway, everybody can hear you. Just go ahead. You can see your screen actually. You can go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. I bring you greetings from Wema Bank, and it's been an interesting session so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I do hope that the same is the case for everyone here. So my name is Chinedu Nnawetanma. I lead the SME Advisory and Non-Financial Services team of Wema Bank. And I also lead the SME Green Finance team of Wema Bank. So today I'll be talking to you about your rights as a consumer when engaging lenders. So these are some of the things that I will talk to you about. I know Mr. Oladimeji has talked about the different types of funding available for individuals and businesses. But for the benefit of people who just joined, I would quickly recap. And then I'm also going to talk to you about the current credit landscape in Nigeria, your rights as a consumer, how you can ensure the credibility of lenders before approaching them and before taking money from them, and how you can exercise your rights in case things go bad along the way. And then I'm also going to talk to you about tips for managing and repaying your loans effectively. So sometimes it's not really the fault of the lenders. It's also due to one or two things that are wrong on the borrower side. So I also tell you how you can manage and repay loans effectively to avoid any defaults. So understanding credits. So there are various types of funding. We have debt capital, we have equity capital, and grants. So these are the three most common types of funding out there. So the debt capital is basically any money that someone gives to you that you have to repay sometime. in the future. Some people require you to make bullet repayments, that's repay all at once, while other ones will, like you to make payments at intervals. So a debt capital is basically any money that someone gives you that you must repay. Then talking about equity capital is basically any type of funding that someone gives you, as an individual or as a business owner in exchange for, maybe a share or equity in your business. Someone gives you, let's say, 20,000 naira, in exchange for 10% share of ownership in your business. So that's equity capital. Equity capital, unlike debt capital, doesn't need to be repaid. Then the third one that everyone likes, it's called a grant. So a grant is money that is given to you without any conditions. Just take this money, use it to buy things, use it to invest in your business. We don't want to take any share of ownership in your business, and we don't also want you to pay us back the money. Just take it and use it to do whatever you like. So any money that you are taking has to come in any of these three forms. Even though some have a combination of one or two of them. So these are the features of the various types of funding we have. We have equity capital is usually given by investors in exchange for a share of ownership in your business. I've mentioned that earlier on. You don't need to repay it, and it's called patient capital because it's usually long-term capital. Number one, you don't need to repay it, and secondly, the people that are giving you that money, they don't they are not expecting any immediate returns from it. So it's called patient capital. But the downside of it is that it dilutes, for business owners, it dilutes the ownership of your business as the founder. It also reduces your control over the business because some other people will, eventually get involved. Then talking about grants, that one is very straightforward. It doesn't need to be repaid. It doesn't also need to be exchanged for a share of ownership in your business. Then talking about debt capital. So debt capital is the focus of our conversation today. So I just wanted to create this distinction so that you know what exactly we are talking about. So debt capital or credits, is money that is given to you with the expectation that you pay this money back sometime in future, often with interest. So most people would like you to pay back with interest. Most banks will, like you to pay back with interest. But some people would also not want to get any interest, from you, especially friends and family. If you borrow from friends and family, they don't usually expect you to give them any interest in return. So it has a relatively short repayment cycle. It can range from anywhere between a week and 2 to 3 years. It often requires collateral, but not always. Some people will ask you for collateral, but some others will not ask you for that. And it also doesn't dilute any share of ownership in your business. So when you talk about credits, you're basically talking about debt capital loans, even though there are other types of debt capital. But for this conversation, we are sticking to credits. So these are the various sources of funding for credits. We have commercial banks, microfinance banks, merchant banks, development finance institutions, even the government sometimes give loans, soft loans to people, to individuals, to businesses, to grow, to improve their well-being. Then of course we have family and friends. So talking about equity capital, that one is a little bit more complex. So you hardly see someone give you equity capital as an individual, as a consumer. So equity capital is almost exclusive to businesses. So we have angel investors. I'm sure a lot of you must have heard of angel investors before. We have venture capital firms, private equity firms, the stock market. So if you invest in the stock market, you are actually giving equity capital to whatever company you are investing in. So if you buy shares in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, you are giving equity capital to that company whose shares we just but you also have business incubators and startup accelerators. Then when it comes to grants, everybody likes grants. So when it comes to grants, we have NGOs. NGOs are usually the ones that give out grants. You also have the government. So there's something the government is currently doing called conditional grants. So they're giving grants to people that have been hit hard by the removal of fuel subsidy. So that's like that's a grant, and it's been disbursed through various state governments across the country. We also have religious organizations, as part of their service to humanity. They also give grants to one or two individuals from time to time. They have HNIs and for-profit organizations. So this is just a summary of the different sources of funding available to you. But like I mentioned earlier on, for this conversation, we are sticking to credits or debt capital. So the next section talks about the current credit landscape in Nigeria. So as you all know, there's been a growth of online lenders in the country. Lenders that don't even have any physical office. You just know that they are there, that they are lending. But you can't point to one or two locations where they are based. So with device of technology, people can reach out to customers from the comfort of their homes. And this also means that, someone can set up a business, a lending business, and, reach out to you through various social media platforms, through various online platforms. You can go to a website and you see, ads popping up here, and they're telling you to get some loans that, you can get up to XYZ amount, and, to be disbursed in less than 30 minutes. I'm sure a lot of you have seen things like that. So there's a growth in online lending, in the country. There's also the availability of diverse credit products. A lot of banks in the country have different types of loan products. They have personal loans, that you can take and repay in 6 months, 12 months, and the rest of them. You have payday loans that you can take and repay when you get your next salary. You also have credit cards. This one is not so common, and a lot of you may not be familiar with it, but it's another credit product out there that consumers can take advantage of. And so there's also easier access to credits, easier access but higher risks. So why loans are more accessible now? Not all borrowers are aware of the associated risks. So you can, from the comfort of your home, without visiting any branch, you can easily apply for a loan from a commercial bank or from one of these loan sharks that we've been talking about. So you don't need to submit any sometimes you don't even need to submit any documents. You understand? Just come, tell them what you need, give them the source of repayments, and they will disburse to you. So there's easier access to loans, but there's higher risk. So this is how they usually catch people like you and I. And then there's also the victim demographic. So they typically target people who have low financial literacy, people who don't really know what is involved in the lending business. They also target people who are from low income households, people who may be desperate, looking for funds. So they profile people before, most of them profile people before actually targeting them. Once they know that you have maybe low financial literacy, or maybe you are desperate for money, they would target you, and from there you are in their net. And then so there are lots of hidden costs, there's a lot of what we call predatory lending in the country. So there's someone will give you, a lending company, a loan shark will give you a lengthy document with tens of pages that obviously they know that you won't have the time to go through all those pages. So they will in one or two places hide one or two costs that you may skip, because most of us just read the first few lines and then go to the bottom of the document and just sign up without going through what is in between those things. So those are where they usually hide those terms and conditions, those hidden terms. If you don't pay us back, you have to pay, your interest rate will increase to maybe 50% or 100%, those kind of things. And then there's a bit around debt traps. So moving on to your rights as a consumer when it comes to lending, when it comes to borrowing, rather, when it comes to borrowing from, from banks, from, non-bank financial institutions, you have the number one right you have is the right to transparent information. Every lender, every company that you are borrowing from must, clearly state, the interest rates you're going to pay, the fees and other charges involved. Those things must be clearly stated. If you don't see those things, please ask to request for them. It is very, very important. This is the most important aspect of borrowing from a bank. There must be, the fees, the rates, everything about money must be stated clearly in black and white. There shouldn't be any, there shouldn't be anything that is not clear when it comes to, the finances, the clauses. They must not be tucked away, where people cannot easily see them. If you can't see them, request for them, and they will supply you those things. And then the loan terms, what are the, repayment, what is the repayment period is very important. Are you going to pay back in a month? Are you going to pay back in 6 months? Are you going to pay back in 12 months? Or is it, some of these loan sharks, they'll give you money today and tell you to pay them back, on Monday. So that is a very wrong, thing to, to do. So some of them, hide this information. They won't let you know. Once you take the loan, that's when they will now start, telling you about all these things. So before you even take a loan, you should know the terms and conditions, of that loan. Then the second one is right to refuse unwanted, marketing. Some of these people, they have access to, our email addresses. So that's why you also need to be careful, how you interact in the social, on social media. Don't just put out your personal details out there. Don't put out your phone number carelessly. Don't put out your email addresses, carelessly, because some of the people that are looking up, that will be seeing these things are actually people who are up to no good, people who have bad intentions. So some of these loan sharks actually look out for things like that, and from there, they will be sending you unsolicited, messages telling you to come and take a loan that they will disburse under 10 minutes. So this is something you have to be wary of. And if you get, emails from, companies you don't know, loan sharks, that you've never heard of, that are promising heaven and earth, it's better to opt out of those, notifications so that you will not be seeing them, anymore. Because the more, it's very tempting, one of these days you may decide to, okay, let me even check out what these people are saying. And from there you are hooked. So you have the right to refuse unwanted marketing and information. And then you also have the right to privacy. So this is very key. You have the right to privacy. Your personal and financial information must be kept confidential by whoever you are trying to borrow from. So the only people that need to know, that you are borrowing from anybody is, maybe the lender, the person that is giving you money. Maybe if you have a guarantor, the guarantor has a right to know that you are borrowing XYZ amount from, ABC company. And then you also have referees. Some lenders will ask you for referees. Please, those are the only people that should know that you are taking money from, any organization. So it's not right for you to, give your personal details like your social media, handles, your a lot of personal information. Once they request for those things, please kindly decline, because if anything goes wrong, that's how we start. They will start contacting people that people that are within your circle, people that are close to you, and saying all manner of things. So this should be avoided at any cost. Don't share your personal information with any other person apart from the person you're borrowing from, and guarantors or referees. And if those people that you're borrowing from are asking for unusually personal information, please don't give it to them. They are up to no good. Then transaction security is very important. Any transaction that any data exchange must be done over secure channels. So there's something called, so if you go to your browser, if you go to any website, you see something like HTTPS. So if you see just HTTP, that platform is not secure. There must be an S behind it, HTTPS, showing that it's secure. So if you don't see that S there, when you are on the website, so if you don't see that that S there, it shows that any that website is not secure. So any information that you are, divulging on that platform, on that website, can be hacked, by an external person, can be hacked, by people who shouldn't have information and shouldn't have access to that information. So it's very, very important that you do this. Then right to fair treatment, this one is self-explanatory. Your lender shouldn't discriminate, against you based on maybe where you come from, based on your gender, race, religion, marital status, and all of those things. So those things are a no-no. In fact, apart from maybe gender and age, lenders shouldn't request for information regarding your race, your religion, and all of those other things. So that is about right to fair treatment. Then right to seek redress. So if you feel that your rights, that any of these preceding rights have been violated, you have the right to, seek redress. You have the right to lodge complaints, contact the various consumer protection agencies around, you can also take legal action if you feel that, any of these things, have not been, any of these conditions have not been met. So please do take necessary action. And if you need to if you feel that you need to be compensated, you can also, you can also explore that option. So as a consumer, it's very important that you are aware of these rights, because it's your first line of defense against, lenders that are up to no good. Ensure you always ask questions. If you don't see anything, if you don't see your interest rate, the interest rate you'll be paying, if you don't see the tenor, that's the length of the loan you are going to take, the length of the repayment period, if you don't see things around that, if you don't see, the penal charges, please ensure that you get, that information, get those details, because it's very, very important. Your lender can use it against you, once you take that facility. Then ensuring the credibility of lenders. How do you ensure that people we are taking money from are credible? You can use online reviews. You can use platforms like Google. Once you Google, these days, once you Google anything, you're able to see it. And if you don't, so this is also a red flag. If you don't see any information about the lending company that you want to take money from, if you don't see that information on Google, it's actually a bad sign, that this company has no digital footprints, it's not known, to the online community. So that's a very, very, big red flag that you have to look out for. So check the online reviews, check the ratings, who have borrowed money from these organizations in the past, what's their feedback? Are they complaining or are they satisfied? This is also very, very important. You can also ask for recommendations. Your one or two of your friends who have might have borrowed before. Ask them who they borrowed from. So it's also very key. Check for licensing. So there are lots of regulatory bodies that regulate the activities of financial institutions in the country. Then the one we all know is the Central Bank of Nigeria. So if any company that you are trying to borrow from is not registered by the CBN, that's a big red flag. That means the company is operating illegally. So this is actually one of the things you should look out for. this company that's approached me to tell me, oh, they have, they can give me 50,000 naira, they can give me 500,000 naira, they can give me 10 million naira, and in less than 24 hours, in less than 1 hour, in less than 10 minutes. Are they actually registered? Ask them for their registration, their CBN registration. Ask them for their CAC registration, number, CAC registration details, because that actually shows you if they are, really trustworthy. Transparency in communication. I've mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again because it's very, very important. Information is key when it comes to borrowing from, organizations. What are the terms? What is the interest rates? What is the tenor? What is the amount? What are the penalties? A lot of us don't look at the penalties because that's where they will actually hit you hard. You understand? If you default, it's very bad to default. It's very, very bad not to pay your loan when you should pay it. But in case that happens, what next? What are they going to do? How much are you going to pay them as penalty charges? What will they result to? What will they kind of like do if you fail to repay your loan, as and when due? So it's very, very important. Check out for the penalties because some of these things are actually stipulated there. That if you if you default, we are going to contact the people that are close to you and use them to get you to repay. So some of the loan sharks actually put this in their documentation, but because we don't read those lengthy, big grammar, we miss them out. And when you take them to court, they will say, okay, then we gave you this document, yes or no. You say yes, and you sign it. Is it not your signature? Is it not the date? So why did you go through the document to see all of these things? So it's very, very important. They can hook you, with that. Ensure that there are no hidden clauses. So the next one we are going to look at is the physical presence. Even though this is not really so essential, but it will also be good if the person or the company that you are borrowing from has a physical presence. Even if they don't have branches all over the place, they should have like an office where you can walk into and see one or two people. So this is very key, even though it's not compulsory because some people work from home business. Some businesses don't even have physical office, but physical presence kind of like gives a measure of comfort when it comes to borrowing. What are their contact details? How can you reach out to them? Where are they located? What are their, contact phone numbers? What are their contact email addresses? So that if you have any inquiries, if you need anything, you can reach out to them. And then exercise.
1 minute, Chinedu. Sorry, I have to interject. Please, you have just 2 minutes to round up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So exercising your rights, be proactive, try and educate yourself, what are your rights as a lender? As a borrower, what are your rights as a borrower is very important. Ask questions. If you are not, it's always good to ask questions. Nobody will, we say that you are dumb, or nobody will, penalize you for asking questions. So if there are things that you don't understand, simply ask, and they will be clarified. Documentation is very important. Keep records, maintain records of all your loan documents, all communication, all transactions with the lender. It's very important. Written communication, always prioritize written communication over verbal communication. So instead of you calling the person and the person tells you XYZ over the phone, send an email to the person, and let the person respond to you via email. Let the person not call you and explain what he should have explained via email. Tell the person to explain to you via email what you need clarification on. Then seek external assistance. Contact consumer. There are several consumer protection agencies. There's the CPC. So there are many other ones. So if the lender fails to address your concerns, that's when you default, or when one or two things go wrong, you can reach out to the local or national, consumer protection agencies for guidance. Also seek legal, counsel if it comes to that. So the last thing we'll talk about is how to manage and repay your loans effectively. So this is very, very critical, because the number one obligation you have when someone gives you money is for you to repay that money, because the person actually placed, a lot of faith in you that that if they give you money, that money has to come back. So it's up to you to make sure that that money comes back goes back to the person as and when due. So avoid unnecessary expenses. What you actually borrow that money from, use it to meet that needs. Don't go and start buying things that you don't need. Start investing in things that may that you don't really that may go bad along the line. So build an emergency fund. This is very important. Have savings that you can take out from if something goes wrong. Prioritize loan repayments to your budget. Avoid taking on additional debt. This is very, very important. If you've borrowed money from someone or from somewhere, don't go and borrow, from any other person, borrow from 2 more companies, because this will increase, your debts burden. It make it very difficult for you to pay back in time. Then you should also track your credit history and credit score using platforms such as some credits and registry. It's very, very important to know what your credit score is and how you can, if the credit score is bad, what you can do to improve your credit score. And if you take a loan and you don't repay it, your credit score gets worse. So that's it for me. Thank you for your time. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chinedu. I just wish you are seeing your face. I don't know what the technical hitch is. A lot of people are very excited at your presentation. As a matter of fact, some people have buzzed me when I said it's time up to say, please, can you allow him? But I have to do my job actually. So thank you once again. I may not be able to ask you questions now, but I'll do that at the panel session because of time. So can the Chinedu please also go to the Q&A and answer some questions there for you. Answer the questions live. Admin, Chinedu, please stop sharing your screen. Admin, kindly pull up our slide. Kindly pull up our slide. And when you are interacting on the social media as requested by communication, you can always do #creditregistry. #creditregistry. So at this point, I would want to ask all the speakers to come back on. Everyone can just turn on your video. And at this point, I would like to introduce 2 of my colleagues to join. They'll be answering some questions. I have Chinedu, I'm sorry, please. I have Christopher, if you're here, kindly turn on the video. Christopher is our data analyst in here in Credit Registry. And I also have Chibike Anumodo. He's one of our exceptional colleague here in the sales department in Credit Registry. So if everybody is up, I'm just going to ask you questions and you have just 6 minutes to answer. And I will start with you, Chris. This is supposed to be a breakout session, but we're not able to make that a breakout session. Oh, we're in Nigeria, apologies. So please, if you're here, Chris, can we we'll give you 3 minutes, 6 minutes to tell us, to answer the question, why do I need a good credit history? Why do I need a credit history? Chris, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone.
So why some of us, I want to know, why do they need a credit history? Over to you in the next 6 minutes, please.
Before I go into why do you need a credit history, I will just want to quickly start by answering the question, what is a credit history? So basically, I think the 2 presenters have made life very easy for me to answer this question because I believe they've already answered it. A credit history is simply the record of your borrowing and repayment pattern. So how you borrow and how you make those payments, making sure that you're not defaulting and the rest. So all that information and more though, but basically the major thing that your credit history talks about or tells you is your repayments and your payment pattern. And the credit history also shows the number of credit card you have, the loans you've taken, the loans that you've taken, and the timeliness of your repayments. And it also shows information, the institutions that you have relationship with, the banks, the MFBs, and the likes that have given you loan. One of the other things that a credit history also captures is that it also captures the places that you've gone shopping for loan. For example, if you go to Zenith Bank and you want to get a loan, you now move to Rent Money and every other places. So once they check your credit reports, these informations will be captured in your credit history. So yes, that is also captured in your credit history. And the other thing is, so this credit history helps lenders to understand or to know you much better. It also helps them to understand your character, which I believe Mr. Larry has already talked about. The character of your repayments, that if we should give you this loan, you will not run away with their money. If we should give you this loan, you're going to be paying and you'll be paying on time. And it also tells us that if we should give you this loan, you are not going to default, because I don't believe any lender wants a defaulting customer. So if you defaulting on a loan, the tendency or the likelihood of you not getting loan again is high. And that will now going to force you to go into, to go to these loan sharks, and you now fall victim to the loan sharks and you find yourself in trouble. I also want to move on to talk about a little bit about the credit report, because your credit history is being captured in your credit report. And once you look at your credit report, it's majorly broken down into 2 or 3 major components or parts. One of them is your credit account information. And the other one is about your credit enquiries, which I believe I've mentioned before. The enquiries, how you shopping for loans. And the last one, which for now, we do not capture majorly in the Nigerian space, is the public records. That's your bankruptcy and every other thing that comes with the public records. And so now I think I've built enough background to want to now answer your question. Why do you need a credit history? Or what's the importance of your credit history? One of the most important things that you should be aware of, or that your credit history captures, that it's actually helps the lenders determine whether they should give you a loan or not, and the interest rates that should apply. And the number 2 reason why you need a credit history or a good credit history is it's heavily impact on your credit score. I know a lot of us might not know exactly what a credit score is. I believe that would be a topic for another day, but your credit score is just like a summary. Okay, let's say you have all these loans, you have all this history, your payments, collecting loan, repayment, and the rest. So your credit score is just an algorithm that we take all these different characters, or we call them attributes or characters, and come up with one score that just tells the customer if you're good or bad. So the higher the score, your credit score, the good customer you are. And if it is bad, it's if the credit history is if your score is a bit low, then it tells the customer that you are a bad customer, you're a defaulting customer. So the credit score is another topic that I really don't want us to move into, because it will take a lot, and I think a lot of people have a lot of questions to answer. And the last reason why it's important to have a good credit history is it tells a lot about your character. And I believe Larry has spoken a lot about character and why you should be careful about your history and the character and the borrowing and the rest. So your credit history tells a lot about your character, because if you want to take a 1 million loan from me and someone else has already given you a 20,000 naira loan and you are not able to pay, or you're defaulting on that 20,000 loan, then you should not be expecting that the customer that you're asking for a 1 million loan, a lender you're asking for a 1 million loan is going to give you that, because your credit history has already shown that you will default on that loan, and the likelihood that of you not getting that loan is high. So I believe, in a nutshell, this is why you need a credit history, and a good credit history for that matter.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Chris, just hang in there. And also join us to answer the Q&A questions, because I know there are some questions popping up there for you. The next person I want to call is Chibike Anmodo. Chibike, I know Chris has touched a bit more on credit score, but we want you to talk a bit more on understanding the significance of your SMART score, because most people here don't know they have a SMART score. So how is this significant for them? Please, over to you in the next 4 minutes, please. Thank you.
Please confirm you can hear me. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, like Chris rightly said, SMART score is more like a numerical expression of your credit worthiness. So, your whole entire credit history summarized in a 3-digit number. So basically, your SMART score has significant impact in your entire financial life. So influencing your ability to access different products, financial products at favorable terms. It can also influence employment decisions on you. So like I said, one of the significance of SMART score is that you're able to, of course, lenders call your credit score and your credit report before deciding on whether to advance or approve your loan applications, right? So a higher SMART score makes it possible for you to get approved at a lower rate and even higher credit limits and other favorable terms. So in essence, it saves money for you in the long run. Another importance or significance of SMART score is that you are able to be sampled into a population for pre-qualified offers. So from time to time, lenders roll out new products that has competitive rates, rewards, and even cashback. So if you have a very good SMART score, you will fall into those sample of customers who will receive notifications on these offers. And that also helps your bottom line. Another way the SMART score helps you is rental and housing. So these days, landlords and even realtors are now running scores and running checks on your SMART score to ascertain, your ability to pay back your rent. And, for those realtors who sell properties on perhaps buy now, pay later, so they are able to also ascertain whether you can pay back after making the first installment. So it helps them also to sort of figure out how to draft the terms of agreement with you. So if you have a very poor SMART score, you may get denials on this. Then, like I remember someone has already said about employment opportunities before now. So employers, we have a lot of HR consulting firms sitting at our bureau to run your SMART score, right? So if you have a very bad SMART score, it can ruin your chances of getting that desired job. Insurance premiums. Insurance premiums use our SMART score to decide the rates on your insurance agreement. So the higher your score, the better rates, the better agreement terms you enjoy with those organizations. Otherwise, you may get higher premiums and other stringent insurance agreement terms. Utility services, including telecommunication organizations, also run checks on your SMART score before setting up a new service or postpaid account for you. So a poor SMART score might necessitate a security deposit, or they may ask you to sort of make a payment before they set up that the account for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Chibuike. We're running behind time, actually. So the last one is for you, Chinedu. I just want to ask you one question, then we'll move to the announcement of our winner, and then we'll just round it up. Someone is asking that is saying a friend used her details to borrow money. Her SIM card is with this friend. And she only received the message through Gmail, and the person died 2 weeks to the repayment day, and I am cashless, struggling to survive. How can this person engage with the lender, knowing fully well that the SIM was impersonated, right? How can this person solve this problem?
Okay, thank you for that. Can you see me now?
Oh, yes, yes,
Oh,
you can.
finally.
Yes.
My apologies, I had some technical issues.
Right.
So, first and foremost, I would like to, commiserate with you, for the loss of your friend. Such situations can be emotionally, challenging. So if your friend borrowing money without your consent is actually a fraudulent action. So it's actually considered fraud, for someone to take a loan on someone else's behalf without the person's knowledge. So it's actually a fraudulent situation. So for you, the first thing, I don't know if you've done this already, but the first thing you should have done is to report the situation. You should have immediately notified the lending institution about the situation, telling them that someone took a loan with my name without my consent. So that's the first step. You should take naturally. So you should always communicate with the lending institution, telling them this is what's happened. Explain in details, that your information was used to get the loan without your permission. Also tell them that your friend passed on. So some lenders may be understanding enough to offer you a grace period, to restructure the loan so that maybe instead of paying back tomorrow, you can pay back in a month's time, or you can pay back, after like 2 months. So they can even give you partial waivers. They can say, okay, don't pay the interest, come and pay us just the principal. That's the amount that was taken. But this is very, very tricky. It's very, very tricky. Some lenders will not do this, but some others may consider it, especially restructuring the debt. They may not tell you to not to pay back again, but they may tell you to, okay, come, let's see how we can resolve this. Instead of paying us maybe in 1 month, you can pay us after 2 months. So it's very, very important that you communicate, that you report the situation to your lender. Then you can also, if that doesn't work out, you can also dispute the debt,
Thank you.
loan. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I was just saying thank you, so we can round up. It's almost time. So at
Okay,
this point, thank you, everybody. So at this point, I want us to look at the winners. So admin, can we make some noise for the raffle winners so we can leave here in the next 5 minutes? The webinar admin, can you over to you? Please, Chinedu, while this is ongoing, kindly help us answer some questions on the Q&A line, questions that we couldn't bring up.
best, number one and nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. Best, number one and nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, though I believe. I know I can count on me. So stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Champions, for the champions, stand up for the champions, for the champions, stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Here we go, it's getting close. Now it's just who wants it most. It's just life, that's how it is. 'Cause we have our strengths and weaknesses. Oh, I have.
Okay, I think okay, hello, can you hear me? I'm saying something, I'm talking. Wow. Okay, I think my internet is now a challenge. Excuse me. Hello, can you hear me, please? Can someone from the panelists say yes? They can hear.
Yes, I can hear you, Vera.
Okay, thank you. The internet just decided to act up at this point. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us so far. So at this point, I want to announce the 3 winners that we have today. If you're here, just show me, just raise your hand, just raise the virtual hand. I will allow you to give 1 or 2 talk just for a minute. If they're not here, we're going to reach out to them. So there was the criteria. We looked out for people that have non-performing loans within a certain amount of money, and then we had them download their full credit report so we could see how much and the lenders that are owing. And based on that, we filtered out the winners. And someone got lucky. Zenith Bank said they wanted her to win. So the first winner I'm going to announce today is Justin Aga. If you're here, just raise your hand. Give me a wave of hand reaction. I'll come back to you. Admin will unmute you. We also have Smart Samuel. Smart Samuel, if you're here, just give me a raise of hand reaction. And we also have Peter Oluwasegun Oye. These are the 3 winners we have here today. I'm looking at the list to see if any of them is raising their hand. So in the absence of, I can't see a hand raise. So in the absence of this, we're going to be rounding up at this point. I want to also say thank you once again. I wrote down 4 important things here. I just kind of summarized the webinar in 4 words. Now, this is for consumers. We've tried to empower the consumers. We've tried to empower everyone here. And I have this to say to all of us, that an informed consumer is the best customer that there is. And an informed consumer is unexploitable. An informed consumer, because you're living here as informed, an informed consumer makes sensible decisions, and we've succeeded in empowering everybody here to be able to make the right decision when it comes to credit. And an informed consumer is an empowered citizen. So we are so proud and happy, and thank you to all our speakers here. Okay, thank you every one of you for empowering everyone here to go out to become an empowered citizen in the Nigerian economy. Thank you all participants for joining. Thank you everyone. We are glad you joined us today. We enjoy the rest of the day. Over to you, admin.
Real quickly, we just want to also thank Lanre, Foyin, and Chinedu for your speeches today. Thank you everyone for attending, and we will close off today. And please continue to contact Credit Registry if you have any questions. We look forward to you in the next Consumer Financial Literacy webinar.